Hey everyone, I'm in Witcher 3 here. I'm going to show you how to use swords, or how to use sword, depending on which one you need to use. So Geralt has two swords on his back. He's got a silver one and a steel one, and the reason he has two swords is they're good for fighting different things. The steel sword is good for fighting humans and standard things like dogs, like wild dogs and bears or whatever. And then the silver one is used for fighting against monsters. So if you want to use either sword, you can draw them either automatically by running into a foe, or if you want to draw them manually, you can do that as well. But we'll go draw in automatic. So we've just walked into some humans there. So can you see down the bottom right, it shows that we've got the steel weapon now. So he's drawn that automatically because we're fighting humans. Left trigger makes a parry like we can see here, and he'll block incoming attacks like we've got here. So we're fairly safe if we hold down the left trigger against these guys here. Now, if you want to do something a bit more flash, you can attempt to do a counter attack by letting this go, but then pressing it just before an attack comes. Now, this is a little harder with three of them, but we'll have a go. So here we go. Oh, I missed it. Like that. So we've got a counter attack. X does a light attack, like we see there. So just pressing it once, he does kind of like a slash. If you hold it down, you get a bit of a flasher looking one. And then Y, Y does a heavy attack, which takes longer to throw, but it will do more damage. Like that. Look at the damage that did. Ow. So I'm obviously getting hammered here because I'm trying to show you the individual buttons. So let's just sort these guys out. Oh, now finishes like that will be done automatically if you've got it on in the settings. I'll show you where you can turn that on or off. So we've sorted out the humans. Now we're going to go and find some monsters. But let's just talk about that. If you hit the screens button, go to your options. And then when you're in here, you've got the gameplay. If you go there, there's what finishes, which you can see they're set to automatic. You can turn off the auto sword drawing sheathing if you want. So you can do that there. And that's the main things I wanted to talk about there with the swords. So if we wanted to manually draw either sword, we press the right on the D-pad for the silver sword, or the left on the D-pad for the steel sword. And if you want to sheath it again, just the same button that you just pressed will do that. So let's go and find some monsters, and I'll just show you the silver sword in battle. So let's have a little look at the controller scheme. And if I move to combat, you can see the different options for combat here. Left trigger on the Xbox does parry / counter attack. If you hold the left trigger down, he will parry. So that can keep you pretty safe from incoming attacks. But depending on the enemy, sometimes attacks may still get through. A counter attack you need to time. So you need to flick the left trigger just before an attack comes at you, and then Geralt will counter attack. But it is quite needing of good timing to do that. Strong attack is Y. Fast attack is X. And then you want to learn dodge in particular, B, to dodge out of the way of people. And you can see there, like I said, left button, draw sheath, steel sword, right button, draw sheath, silver sword. Aha, we got a good sword there. So let's talk about swords next. So let's just sheath both swords there, and have a little look in our inventory about other things about swords. So there's inventory. And you've got, under weapons, different swords that we've got here. So there's the one that I just found. It's only a level 5. It's actually not as good as my current sword. How do I know that? Because next to the damage where it says 59 to 73, it says minus 23. And whenever you're looking at a sword, that minus or plus tells you whether the other sword is better or worse than your current sword. This one's actually better than my current sword, so if I wanted to equip it, I could hit A to equip. If I want to see an exact comparison, if I hold down the left trigger, I can compare against the swords. So swords have varying damage, and also they require certain certain levels to use. So these are very easy for my level. My level's level 10 up the top right. So level 3, level 2, no problem for me to use. So if I hit A, I can equip this sword instead into my inventory. If you see an X on something like this, it's above your level and you cannot equip it. So this is obviously not a sword, this is some crossbow bolts, but the principle would be the same if I had a weapon that was above this. So that's how the swords work. The other thing to talk about swords when you're thinking how to use swords is if you see some little circles, you can apply rune stones to the sword. So you would equip the sword first, and if those circles are not white at the minute, they haven't got rune stones added. These have all got rune stones at the minute, and I don't have another sword to show you the principle, but you can apply one of these rune stones to them which do different things. So the runestones that I've got applied to this particular sword add a 2% chance to cause burning, 3% sign intensity, and 2% attack power. So you can get more powerful runestones. You can also remove the sockets in certain circumstances. I think you have to go and visit a blacksmith, and then you can remove stuff as well. But sometimes things can get damaged, so I'll cover that in a separate tutorial. But yeah, that's an idea of how much damage your swords do, how to use them. The last thing I really want to do is run into a monster just so you can see the difference. Let's just meditate first, just to give me a slight benefit of some potions. Actually, I've just remembered the other thing I wanted to talk about. You can also improve the damage of your sword against certain enemies by, if you jump into that inventory again, and over here you've got the option for oils. So I've got 4 oils at the minute, and these can be applied to my sword to give them more damage. So this one says it gives me 10% attack power versus cursed ones, versus hybrids, versus necrophages, and versus beasts. So if excuse me, if we put beasts on, this one, it suggests I put it on the steel weapon, because beasts, I assume, would be dogs and things like that. But this one, necrophages, I can put it on my silver sword. There we go, that'll do. A foglet. So he drew the silver sword. And what you can do when you're in battle, if you hit the menu button, go to glossary, bestiary, and if you find this in whatever you're fighting, it will give you a hint of what's effective against this. So let's see if we've got a foglet. There he is. So this one is vulnerable against moon dust, necrophage oil, and quen. So if we have a little look, I'm pretty sure I'd already applied that oil. Let's see what oil I've got. If you see down the bottom, it says 10% attack power versus necrophages. So I've got the right oil already on my sword. So we'll just finish him off. There we go. Oh, I thought I got him, but I didn't. Where is he? He's gone. Uh-oh. So I'm in trouble. Let's put the quen on. Oh, I'm in trouble. Got to time this right. So he's quite powerful for a level 4. Where's he gone? So this is where the dodging is very important. There is another option, which is roll. But roll uses up stamina, so I generally use dodge. It's much easier. There we go, we got him. So at that point you want to meditate, get your swallow potions back, and then you're all good. And that's how to use swords in Witcher 3. The last thing we'll do, just to cover, to finish off, is just take you to a blacksmith. Black Bow, that's where I want to go. Right, so up here is the blacksmith. This is the last thing I want to show you about how to use swords. Nearly there. So if the blacksmith, you can't talk to him, like here, what you want to do is just meditate for a little bit of time. And sometimes he runs away, has his lunch or something, so we'll try 2 o'clock. There we go, he's ready to talk if we're quick. Just talk to him before he starts work. Yeah. And there's a couple of different things you can do with a blacksmith when you're thinking about how to use swords. So one of which is if you go to, would you craft something for me?
This diagram, think you can forge the weapon?
You can create components, or you can also, I hit Y there to close, that creates swords that you know the diagrams to. So I'm not the right level for these at the minute, but 12 and 13, when I get to those, I could craft either of these swords. I have the components here, and this blacksmith can produce them. Or I've got some steel sword diagrams that I know, and again I've got the parts for all of these, but again they're not really useful to me because I'm level 10. So if we right button over, if your swords are damaged, they will show as a condition there. You see where it says 96 down the bottom left. So you can ask the blacksmith to repair them. You can either hit X to repair all equipped, or do each one individually by pressing A. So this one's quite hammered, so if I hit A, do you want to repair this item for 32 crowns? Okay. Your other option, like we say, we can repair all equipped for X. So we'll do that just for example. I could also repair my stuff that's not in the equipped at the minute. So if I flick between a couple of swords, that might be useful sometimes. But if I hit back out, There's the option to remove upgrades. So if I wanted to remove a runestone here, I could do. But if I do it, it says I've not got enough coins. And I think, pretty sure it damages, I think I lose the item. There's some problem with it. But that's where you do it. You can also dismantle stuff. So dismantling items gives you other stuff from them, which it'll tell you with this tutorial. Yeah. So I could dismantle this, but each thing costs some money. But if I dismantle this, I'll get halved and leather straps, which is sometimes useful for creating other things. So that's where you can dismantle. And the last thing I want to show you is the shop itself. So if I've hit B to go back there, A to go in the shop. And this is where you can buy stuff from this guy. So you could either buy weapons, so swords here. So you could look for a sword that's better than the one that you've got. He's actually not got a sword by the looks of things that's better than what I've got at the minute. What about this one? So that's better than my steel sword. So that would cost me 106 crowns and would be plus 16. If you want to compare it to your sword, hold down left trigger. And you can see, but I would lose the magic stuff that I've got on here. So the 2% charge to freeze. You think that's probably neither here nor there. It's not that powerful a sword that I've got. Blacksmiths will also have diagrams that you can buy. And the diagrams that we saw on the other screen when we were looking at crafting, these are ones that he's got that you can buy to do different things. So sometimes they're rune stones like we've got here. Sometimes they may be an actual sword. Looks like, there you go, Skellige longsword. So this would, I'll be able to create this afterwards, but it's not as powerful as my sword at the minute. It's a kind of waste of my money, but it's only 34 crowns. And that's it really. That's how swords work in Witcher 3, or how to use swords. I hope that was useful to you. If it was, give us a thumbs up please, that's much appreciated. Any comments welcome. If I missed anything, let me know and I'll try and help you out on a future tutorial. Thanks so much for watching.